truly an honor to be here with all of you today and recognize the amazing stewardship and the volunteerism that all of you brought to our organization and our wild public lands. It is my honor this evening to share in the acknowledgement of an individual who has a significant impact on our wild public lands in Montana. There are many heroes in the story of the long fight to protect the Rocky Mountain front, including the Badger 2 medicine from oil and gas and mining. The list of Blackfeet Tribal leaders, local conservationists, ranchers, and outfitters who never gave up goes on and on. Tonight, I want to tell you about one person who is a friend to all of them. An outdoorsman who is woven into the fabric of the Rocky Mountain front community and fiercely loyal to the land and the people who live there. Roy Jake Jacobs is a local boy, born and raised in Teton County, an outfitter, taxidermist, and all-around mountain man. In the early 1970s, Roy was working on an oil and gas seismic exploration crew on the front. They brought bulldozers and heavy equipment into Blackleaf Canyon, and Roy started scratching his head, wondering why they were putting in these roads all over that beautiful, wild country. Can you imagine? In 1977, the Forest Service announced that they were going to lease practically all the public lands on the front, in the place where Roy had lived his whole life. Even the Bob and the Scapegoat area vulnerable to development because of a clause in the Wilderness Act that left designated wilderness open to mineral exploration for 20 years. The oil and gas exploration had shown that there wasn't much oil or gas to get out of the public lands in the front, so why destroy it? Why put in roads and pump jacks? Why chase out the grizzlies, the wolverines, lynx, and elk? Why tear up and pollute the headwaters of the Dearborn, the Sun, Two Medicine, and Badger rivers in perpetuity for short-term gain? Roy's thinking resonated with Gene Sense and a couple of other friends. Then they formed the Friends of the Rocky Mountain Front and jumped in with both feet, writing letters and holding public meetings, advocating alongside Wild Montana to protect the front from all future development. And then in 1981, Secretary of the Interior James Watt auctioned off 147,000 acres of the front to oil and gas companies for a mere $1 an acre, including 47 acres in the sacred Badger 2 medicine. Those were dark days for everyone who loved that land, but they persisted. They worked to protect the front using every tool at their disposal. Grassroots advocacy, federal legislation, public lands policy, and even litigation. In 2006, Congress banned new leases on the front and created tax incentives for companies holding oil leases to relinquish them. That same year, Roy co-founded the Coalition to Protect the Rocky Mountain Front with the common goal of keeping the front wild forever. For 8 long years, Roy advocated tirelessly for the coalition being a good neighbor and a good taxidermist. When folks brought their animals to him, he talked to them about the front. What did they want the front to look like for their kids and their grandchildren? He was all about building trust. But he wasn't a formal guy. He was tough and determined. And he used his sense of humor to win folks over to the cause. In 2014, the coalition succeeded. Congress passed the Rocky Mountain Front Heritage Act. The act protected over 275,000 acres of federal public lands, and it added about 67,000 acres of the Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex and designated the rest as a conservation management area, which allowed existing uses that prevented future development. Roy could have put his feet up and taken a well-deserved break, but he did not. He persevered for the Badger 2 medicine, which was still threatened by oil and gas leases and has many Blackfeet friends. Roy volunteered for Glacier 2 Medicine Alliance, the Bob Marshall Wilderness Foundation, and the Nature Conservancy. They supported the Blackfeet Nation as they worked with leaseholders to voluntarily relinquish those leases in recognition that the Badger 2 medicine was too culturally and ecologically significant to be drilled, as we all agree. The last leaseholder was a Louisiana oil company, called Solonex. The case went in and out of the courts for 4 years, but finally on September 1st of this year, Blackfeet tribal leaders, Wild Montana, and other conservation groups and the federal government finalized an agreement with Solonex to permanently retire the leases in the Badger 2 medicine, the last remaining lease on the Rocky Mountain front. The last remaining lease on the Rocky Mountain front. Roy, your friends call you quite a preserver of the land and a tough old bird. You never gave up. You knew when to be patient, when to be fierce, and when to crack a joke. You understand that no one makes change happen alone. No one makes change happen alone. You grew a community to protect the Rocky Mountain front, and because of you, we will pass the Rocky Mountain front to future generations as wild as we found it. Roy, in honor of your lifetime dedication, we present you the Wild Montana Founders Award.
I'm rarely lost for words, but I am right now. Talk about getting kicked in the stomach. This did it for me. But I'm so appreciative of Wild Montana, every other group I've worked with, and a lot of people, Doug Farrell being one of them. Known Doug for a long time. And it's just, I'm stunned, I'm lost for words. Like I say, I'm the world's greatest BSer, so it's tough for me to be lost for words. It's been the funnest ride of my life, and the accomplishments we made were, and there was lots of us, lots of great groups, things that I never ever thought could be possible. I always dreamt of it being possible, but it all happened. And every time I drive down the road and look at the front, I think, damn, I'm not seeing any lights up there of a drilling rig. And that's what I really like. I just want to say thank you to everybody. And like I said, I'm still lost for words.